Like any other area in the United States, the state of Florida has a healthy share of urban legends and local myths. Take, for example, the legendary swamp ape, the region's Bigfoot equivalent, a hulking creature said to run amok in the state's many swamps and aquatic areas, identified by its strong, repugnant odor and deep, guttural throat calls. Or the ghosts of the St. Augustine Lighthouse, a grisly tale revolving around two young girls who drowned in the nearby sea while their mother was working the lighthouse, too distracted to hear the cries of her children as they were swallowed by the current and returned to the brine. It's rumored that on some nights, the twins' laughter and cries are heard from the top of the lighthouse. Not scary enough? What about the Devil's Chair, a seemingly ordinary bench located in the town of Casadaga that was supposedly built by the devil himself? Every night at midnight, the man in red returns to his bench, and if you sit beside him, he'll whisper wicked, horrible things into your ear, leaving you forever scarred and haunted by the experience. Just don't leave a drink behind when you run off the bench in terror, though. Another legend says that any unopened bottles left on the bench will mysteriously be opened and drained by the morning. Torturing damned souls for eternity makes you a thirsty guy, we guess. But to a seasoned viewer of SCP Explained, urban legends and local oddities might seem a bit mundane in comparison to the strange, inexplicable anomalies that the SCP Foundation regularly researches and contains. After all, the truth is almost always stranger than fiction, and if an actual anomaly gets picked up as an urban legend, the SCP Foundation is going to do everything in their power to shut it down, cover it up, and make the story a little more digestible for the general public. That means relying on the same tired tropes and cliches we've all heard before. Cursed dolls, Bigfoot-like creatures, ghost hitchhikers, we all know them. And as fun as they are, the most popular stories aren't always the most unique or interesting. And if you peer deeper underneath the surface, you can always find kernels of truth in the most commonplace of legends. For example, what's commonly referred to as Bigfoot or Sasquatch is actually SCP-1000, a super-intelligent prehistoric race of ape creatures known as the Children of the Night, who were slaughtered by early humans and forced to hide from the world in order to preserve their species. A cursed object or location? The Foundation deals with those all the time, and stories of ghosts are as commonplace in the anomalous world as they are in the ordinary one. But what about an anomaly that utilizes urban legends to further its own nefarious goals? One that's lifeblood is localized to a single area. Today on SCP Explained, we're going to be talking about SCP-3640, an anomaly that capitalizes on the interest and intrigue those urban legends generate, specifically those in the state of Florida. We already talked about the variety of weird and creepy stories the state calls its own, but what else is Florida known for? Tourism, retirement communities, beautiful summer weather, slightly crazy individuals making news headlines for ridiculous reasons? How about Disney? That's right. The state of Florida is known for Walt Disney World, the granddaddy of all theme parks that brings in millions of tourist dollars annually, and the hub for some of the most iconic characters and stories in the world. If you've ever been to Disney World, then you know about the costume characters that roam the park. Silent mascot costume renditions of your favorite TV and movie characters, posing for pictures and having fun with children. The park is practically infested with them. They seem inescapable. It's pretty understandable that some people are unsettled by mascots. They can sometimes be downright creepy, with those unmoving expressions, giant heads, unnatural movements, and the faces of familiar fictional characters in the right context. A mascot can be just as scary as any horror movie monster or urban legend could ever be. Here's a situation for you. You've just landed at a Florida airport. You're ready to go to Disney World and enjoy a vacation after you've been worked to exhaustion as a junior researcher at the SCP Foundation. You want to get familiar with the state, but you're trying to cut down on your phone usage. After all, you're on vacation. Why not do things the old-fashioned way and unplug from electronics? You spot a brochure rack in the distance. Perfect. A paper hub for everything touristy in the area. Among the hundreds of jet skiing courses, beach information, and mini golf pamphlets, one brochure in particular stands out to you. Maybe it's your background in the anomalous, but you just can't help yourself from picking up a booklet on Florida's urban legends. Knowing what's behind the curtain working for the SCP Foundation really makes these types of things more amusing. You've seen how the sausage was made, and it's a lot more terrifying than anything known to the general public. Heck, you know for a fact that the organization you work for has more than likely not covered up most of the actual incidents that inspired these local legends. Nonetheless, you pick up the brochure, interested in the self-guided tour of Florida's paranormal hotspots, and you're impressed to find that this booklet has it all. Everything from skunk apes to a cursed doll, it's all in here. You chuckle and tuck the pamphlet underneath your arm, but little do you know, you're about to experience something more horrifying than any urban legend could ever be. You see, if you paid attention to your Foundation briefings before you left the state of Florida, you would know that any Foundation personnel who encounter tourist brochure pamphlets advertising self-guided paranormal tours in Florida are to bring said pamphlets to the Foundation's attention immediately. Mobile Task Force Lambda 12, nicknamed Pest Control, is primed on demand for incidents related to these brochures. Why? Because they're a part of a phenomenon categorized by the SCP Foundation as SCP-3640. But what is SCP-3640? Why is something as innocuous and fun as a paranormal travel brochure an object of high interest for the SCP Foundation? Well, you, someone who should have maybe listened to the regional briefing conference back at Site 19 before you left on your vacation, are about to find out. After perusing your booklet and ruminating over the numerous locations at your disposal, you decide to visit one after you get settled into your hotel. After all, you're about to experience a week of family-friendly fun at the House of Mouse. Why not partake in a little horror just to get the blood pumping? A bit of living life on the edge before the scariest thing you have to deal with is a $10 bottle of water and a 3-hour waiting line to ride that giant golf ball. You drive all the way out to the location the pamphlet specified, a bridge by the name of Sunshine Skyway, located right outside of Tampa Bay. Visiting the bridge at night might also get you a visit from a mysterious and beautiful hitchhiker woman who stands on the side of the bridge and attempts to flag down cars. If you happen to take her in, she'll begin to weep, growing progressively louder and louder in her screaming and crying until you reach the other side of the bridge. And when the driver turns back to ask her what's wrong, the woman will have vanished without a trace. Sounds like a fun time, right? Maybe you can find her. Heck, maybe she's single and interested in an enthusiastic and kind junior researcher of the SCP Foundation. You would never contain her, you promise, having to raise your voice over the sound of her weeping and crying in the back seat of your car. Or maybe not. This vacation time outside of the lab is making you think some strange stuff. Whatever the case is, you want to see a ghost girl. So you make your way over to the Sunshine Skyway at 11 at night, just like the pamphlet specified. The bridge is strangely empty, especially for what's usually a crowded stretch of the road. In fact, now that you realize it, there's no one else here. Just you, your car, the black night sky, and the sound of your humming engine. Well, up the road you go, looking for this supposed ghost hitchhiker. The Skyway is quite the drive, and the longer you ride, the less safe you feel. But you're fine, right? It's a very popular bridge driven by thousands of people every day and night. It just so happens to be completely empty at an ordinary time of night, and you can see the dark outline of a figure in the distance, standing in the middle of the road. As you drive closer and closer, you start to make out the figure a bit more. A circular head, a tall, wide body, and 2 more circles on top of that round ball head. Closer, a little closer, and wait, is that? There's absolutely no way that's who you think it is. Is that a Mickey Mouse costume standing in the middle of the road? It apparently is, and it seems like it's not getting out of the way. You honk your horn, but the overgrown rat doesn't listen. It's still standing there, unmoving. You slow down. You know what Disney's legal team is capable of, and you are absolutely not going to jail for running over Mickey Mouse. So if he's not moving out of the way, you will instead. You try to maneuver around the stationary mascot, But suddenly, out of nowhere, the thing leaps 15 feet into the air and jumps onto your hood. You scream as the Mickey mascot skitters across the roof of your car, clawing and tearing at the sunroof trying to get in. You push your foot on the gas as hard as you can, enough force to propel Mickey from the roof, but it's not enough. The mascot hits the ground but immediately gets back up and starts running after your car. Almost instantaneously, it catches up to your car again and uses its strength to pry off the door on the driver's side of the car, exposing you and causing you to lose control of your vehicle. You swerve, crashing into the side of the bridge and banging your head off of the steering wheel. You never thought your life would result in death by Mickey Mouse, but the rapidly approaching costume creature seems to be saying otherwise. The Mickey creature bends down and uses both of its gloved hands to grab you from your car seat, with enough force to break the seatbelt and give you minor whiplash from being flung into the air so quickly. This is it. You know it's over, and you don't even know what's going on or why this is happening. You're just another victim of something you don't understand, like the countless dead you spent your life researching. Or so you think. Just when you assume that it's all over, a shot rings out from across the bridge, and you see a salvo of bullets pepper Mickey Mouse's back, carefully missing you with impressively accurate precision. Mickey drops you, banging your head on the concrete, and runs towards where the bullets are coming from. Several armored, heavily armed soldiers appear from the side of the bridge and circle the mouse. They fire again, but it has little effect on the mascot. Once again, he lunges forward, knocking a soldier off his feet. The mascot dashes off into the distance, leaping over the side of the bridge. Though no splash is heard in the water below, you don't see the mascot landing or even escaping. It's like he was never there in the first place. But at least it's gone now, and you have these unknown soldiers to thank you for your... Wait, is that an SCP Foundation logo? Oh no, they're Foundation Task Force operatives. Before you're able to fully regain your senses, you can already hear the task force captain telling his underling to prep you for amnestics and an interview. The soldier approaches you, and you're thankfully able to muster out a few choice words, namely, wait, I'm with you guys, I'm a junior researcher. The captain pauses and laughs to himself. What are the odds? After you're processed and taken to the nearest facility, where your identity as a card-carrying member of the SCP Foundation is confirmed, you're let in on what exactly it was you just saw back there. As it turns out, you had an encounter with SCP-3640, an anomaly centering around a set of travel brochures that advertise self-guided tours of all of Florida's paranormal hotspots. If someone reads the brochure and goes to a location at a set time, just like you did, they'll be preyed upon by a mysterious, predatory entity or set of entities that resembles costumed mascot characters owned by the Walt Disney Company. Mickey, Donald, Goofy. The task force captain explains that they're all there, and they're all over the state of Florida. Hundreds of mascots, maybe more. They're fast, dangerous, and the Foundation knows remarkably little about them, including how they grow, reproduce, or even consume their prey. All of the known hotspots advertised in the pamphlet are routinely watched by members of the Pest Control Mobile Task Force, where operatives are authorized to neutralize SCP-3640 entities with lethal force, which is how that task force was able to thankfully show up at the right moment and save your life. SCP-3640 only attack those who read the brochures and haven't been seen being hostile or hunting outside of the areas specified by the pamphlet. After you recollect yourself and thank them, the captain hands you a file briefing on SCP-3640, gives you a stern warning, and tells you to familiarize yourself with it before you leave the facility. What a way to start your vacation, you think. Just when you thought you were able to escape the daily horrors of working for the Foundation, you stumble upon an anomaly yourself. But you undoubtedly have more questions about SCP-3640. After all, anyone would after witnessing as weird and strange an anomaly as that in the wild. You ask the captain why the Foundation hasn't captured an SCP-3640 instance, especially if they're so common in the Florida area. He sits down, sighs, and explains that the Foundation did try a while back. It was a standard D-Class test held in the St. Johns River, the location of a supposed river monster. The D-Class personnel was dropped off at the riverbank and told to follow the instructions in the pamphlet. If they spotted a mascot, they were to shoot at it with a tranquilizer gun. After dredging through the river for a few minutes and being distracted by a neat-looking alligator, the D-Class eventually came head-to-head with none other than Donald Duck himself, who emerged from the river and immediately began moving towards the D-Class. The D-Class naturally freaked out completely and ran away from the scene, but Donald was simply too fast. Just when he thought he was safe, the Donald mascot emerged from the shadows and knocked the camera and radio off of the D-Class's head. There were sounds of a struggle, but the D-Class never established contact again. However, his subdermal tracking transmitters continued to operate, and before they went offline completely, they luckily detected the location of the D-Class's body. It was just outside of the Epcot amusement park. Engaged by the captain's story, you ask him what happened next. Surely the Foundation launched an assault on Epcot to figure out what happened to the D-Class, right? The captain grunts and tells you that the rest is classified, but you're not satisfied. You're refusing to move until you figure out what happened to this D-Class. The captain rolls his eyes and, perhaps feeling sorry for you, decides to tell you the rest of the story. Him and his team were deployed just outside of the Epcot theme park, right next to a one-story concrete hut where the D-Class's location was tracked. They were equipped with heavy arms, a net launcher, and a flamethrower, all perfect weapons for subduing these deadly mascots. While Lambda-12 was typically used to hunting anomalous bugs and pests, they figured that hunting down Donald Duck and Minnie Mouse was more or less the same thing, when you squint really hard and pretend that they have wings. The task force broke into the hut, revealing it to be a maintenance shed with a mysterious trapdoor in the middle of the floor. Underneath, a ladder led to a tunnel system, similar to the ones built underneath the Disney parks that the employees use to get around from park to park. The team spotted several dressing rooms and storage rooms, all empty and devoid of life. After some exploration, the team followed a low rumbling noise to a closed door. They slowly opened it, revealing an abandoned boiler room with a white mascot costume at the foot of the boiler, curled up around an unknown object. An operative approached the costume and poked it with a rifle, identifying it as an empty Daisy Duck costume. The team examined it further and found a human arm bone inside the suit. Disgusting to be sure, but nothing the task force hadn't seen before. They turned over the suit to examine the object it was curled around, discovering it to be a purple plastic egg with an embryo inside. Scattered across the floor were more eggshells. The squad gathered them, as well as the bones of the D-Class in the costume, to bring it back to the facility. Suddenly, the task force heard noises in the distance and assumed an attack formation. They noticed the floor of the entrance they came in was now covered in dark fluid and polyester stuffing. The trail of liquid exactly matched their path of infiltration into the tunnel. After determining the situation to be safe, the squad carefully left the tunnel the way they came, bringing the costume and the egg with them. After several weeks, the egg hatched into a miniature stuffed Donald Duck toy. The Foundation dissected it, discovering it to contain a plastic endoskeleton and a rudimentary polyester stuffing muscular system inside. And that was everything the captain had to say. There was never any other leads on the SCP-3640 anomaly, just strangeness and inexplicable inability to capture or understand the mascots. You thank the captain for not only saving you, but explaining what was going on. Before you left the facility to go back to your regular Foundation-less vacation, you took another glance at the document the captain handed to you. On the back page was a chilling letter, dated from 1979, written to Florida Governor Reuben Askew by the Walt Disney Company. It read as follows. The Walt Disney Company thanks you for your cooperation in this matter regarding the unlicensed Walt Disney character operators. Please pass along the following information collected by the outstanding men and women of the City of Orlando's Police Department to the Florida National Guard. If a character is spotted, call to get its attention, and then rapidly flash your flashlights at the costume. If it does not flinch, fire on sight. Aim at the head if possible. Else aim at the knees to disable them and then finish them off with headshots. Body shots have been shown to lack effectiveness. Deceased characters are to be incinerated. No other means of disposal are advised. We are currently pursuing alternative legal means of shutting down these unlicensed operators and hope to achieve a settlement within the end of the year. Cordially yours, the Walt Disney Company. Now go watch SCP-2805 Disney on Ice and SCP-823 Carnival of Horrors for more anomalous theme park madness from SCP Explained.